live. This hangout on air is live. It's Alecia String here with my accountability team. We're going to go through a sabotage cycle that we learned from the Generation Hero event with Empower Network, and it was started yesterday, and I'm so excited to go through this to release some things in our life that's stopping us that we don't realize, and I think that's powerful when you're able to see that. So I'm going to let Rick go first. He says he's all ready, so I'm still learning about this cycle and how to kind of put it together where it can become more effective for us. So take it off, Rick.
Okay, well, I'll just run through to start off with the basics of what we were told yesterday at the event. And I've got a little pad here, so if I don't know if you can see that, we've got a circle, and at the top we've got 12 o'clock, and in the middle I've put Sabotage Cycle. The basic idea of this is that when you come into your full energy and you're ready to raring to go, and you're getting on with your work, and you're excited and you're feeling full of power, and then as you start to lose it a little bit, we come into this big round cycle, and at the 12 o'clock point of the cycle, that's when you're at the ultimate, most powerful and determined and excited. And as you start to lose it a little bit, by the time you get to 3 o'clock, you're probably not sure what you're doing, you're losing your focus. By 4 o'clock, that's slipped around even further to the stage where you're getting a little bit desperate and unsure of what to do, and you're not sure how to get back to your full feeling, and you're losing your mojo. By the time you get to 6 o'clock, you've got the world on top of you, you're completely crushed and defeated, and that's when people kind of quit things, you know. That's when you just give up and say, I can't do this anymore. But if you can stick through it, the cycle will carry on round to around about 9 o'clock, and at 9 o'clock, that's when you start to see the light at the end of the tunnel. You're focusing on getting back to your full power, and as you carry on through the cycle to the very top again, you're back to 100%. So this is the idea of the cycle, and it's one of those things where these cycles can take many days sometimes to break out of, and you could just wander off and say, I can't do this, and then a couple of days time you might get back to your full power and come, right, I'm ready again. But we don't want to have a couple of days out of our business. We want to make that cycle a very short, very quick experience, and you can't stop the cycle. This is the thing of the psychology of it. The brain needs to go through the steps. So what we want to do is push forward from 12 o'clock to 3 o'clock, and if you get to 3 o'clock and you find yourself there, then you don't try to get back to 12 because you can't rewind it. You have to step forward into the next darker feeling, and then step forward again into the 6 o'clock where you're crushed and defeated, and then you can finally step forward into seeing the light at the end of the tunnel and get back to the 12 o'clock fully committed and raring to go. If we can shorten those steps and make it a quick process, then this cycle, this loop, can be shrunk down. Instead of being a 2-day process or a week process or a month, you can shrink it down to an hour, 10 minutes, a minute, or even less. So that's the process of forcing yourself through the steps forwards into the darkness rather than trying to claw your way back to the light. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Which one was number, the 12 o'clock was power, 3 o'clock was you're losing focus, 6 you're unsure. What was 9 o'clock? Are you gaining momentum, or?
That's when you start to get your, if you think of it as a circle, or as the world, so to speak, okay? So when you're down up here, you're in the sunshine, you've got the sun up here, okay? I'll just draw that on. You put the sun there. Okay, so if you can see the sun at the top, there you're right in the sunshine. By the time you've gone down to the bottom, you're in the dark. There's no light getting to you. But as you come round to the 9 o'clock part, and you get to this area, that's when the dawn's lining, the light's starting to hit you, and you're starting to feel empowered again. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you get this great big thing in the way, but when you finally get round to that stage, you start seeing light at the end of the tunnel, the way putting it on the dawn of a new day, just coming up over the horizon.
Oh.
Now, what they did say with this was to assign an animal or a feeling of some sort to it, so you can picture it and put a mental tie to that feeling. So for 12 o'clock, I'm going to give some power words as to what you're feeling when you're at 12 o'clock. So I'll go through this with yourself first of all, Alecia. At 12 o'clock, when you're at your most raring to go and you're inspired, then what would you class as, give me 2 descriptive words how you feel.
Power.
Power is always good, yeah. Anything else that goes with your power?
Strong.
Strong, okay, so we'll write those down next to 12 at the top of your circle. When you get to the 3, oh, in fact, yeah, we haven't added an animal. What would you have as an animal that would represent how you feel?
That's tough. An animal. I have a strong animal. I don't know. I think more like a bear, like roar
Bear.
or something. I don't know.
Bear. That's it. You've got a bear. So
Oh, bear.
yeah, a teddy bear or a grizzly.
I don't know. Yeah, I have a big teddy bear at heart. Yeah.
Okay. As we're going on to the next one, in fact, before we go on, let's come to you, Tamara. Okay. And
Okay.
so you're 12 o'clock, and give me 2 words that describe how you feel. Give me the same words. You know, we're all on a similar sort of level at that stage. There's a limited amount of words, but
Okay. For me, it's larger than life.
larger than life. Okay.
Yes, just can't put a size on it. Just huge,
Okay.
enormous.
Okay.
Yeah.
And another word to
Cool.
describe that feeling? Give me 2 descriptive words.
Unstoppable. Just
Unstoppable. Yep.
yeah.
Okay. We'll go with unstoppable. And can you give me an animal? Sorry.
Oh, that would be a T-Rex.
A T-Rex, a dinosaur.
Yes.
Wow. That's kind of scary. Okay. So,
It's awesome.
we're also going to write these down on a piece of paper separate. So you've got our circle we're writing it on. But
What's
if you
yours,
get a
Rick?
piece of notepad, here's mine. So we've got my 12 o'clock, I'm a lion. You can hear me roar. That's the sound that I like to put with
We're
it.
both
So I
roaring.
roar.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know what a teddy bear makes as a noise. So,
I thought it was the same. Roar.
Go with the grizzly. You
and my
got it.
words I've got here are power, focused, and unstoppable. So I've just put 3 down there.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when I'm ready. I'm going for it. I'm decisive. Okay, so moving on to 3 o'clock, and we'll come back to you, Alecia. At 3 o'clock, we've got this is where you've lost your mojo. You've fallen off track, so to speak. So once again, you're going to get some sort of feeling when you realise that you're slipping into your sabotage cycle. So when you start to realise that, and it's usually about the 3 o'clock mark, you're going to give me a couple of words to how you feel.
Sluggish.
Okay.
Slow.
Okay, so everything's slowing down for you.
Mm-hmm.
So sluggish, slow. Anything else?
That's all I can think of.
Okay. And can you give me some sort of animal that would represent that?
I don't know. Maybe the cat sleeping next to me.
Okay, a sleeping cat. Okay, fair enough. Sleeping cat. And do you want to put a sound to it? Describe a sound that you could link to it.
A sound? There is no sound. They're sleeping. Snoring.
A snore. A snore. Okay, snoring, that's fine. Okay, Tamara?
For 3 o'clock, I felt scattered, unfocused, and distracted.
Yep.
And as far as an animal, I'm going to go with a sheep. Because they're stupid and they get scattered and distracted really easy.
Count sheep.
Yeah, I understand that, yeah. Okay. Do you have a sound to go with it?
Yeah, I'm just gonna go with a stupid dumbass sheep sound.
Okay.
I hate it. Like, you ever get around sheep, you'll understand because they're just awful.
I know what sheep are like.
Yeah.
Actually, that's actually wrong. I didn't mean it like that. Sorry, I'm not Welsh, I'm English. So
there you go.
there's mine. I've got it written down. So for me, it's a rabbit, and it's that feeling of there isn't enough time. There isn't enough time. I'm late. I'm late. Alice in Wonderland sort of thing. I'm the white rabbit. Yeah.
Okay.
And so my sort of sound to go with the rabbit is uh-oh. I'm losing track. Uh-oh. You know, it's not going right. And I've got twitching feet, and I'm hopping about. I'm not focused on one thing. I'm coming onto my computer, and instead of being focused and driven and doing my blog post, I'm checking my Facebook feed, I'm checking my Twitter feed, I'm looking at Pinterest. I'm just hopping about from one thing to the other and losing focus on what I should be doing. So the rabbit is the white rabbit is my number 3 o'clock. That's when I notice things are starting to slip.
Rescue time is having a hard time keeping up.
Okay, so we're now getting to 4 o'clock, and at 4 o'clock, obviously, this is when I'll just draw this down. This is a little man walking around the Sabotage Cycle, and as he gets to 4 o'clock, he's kind of falling off the edge of the earth there. He's not got anything left to cling on to. And so we get to 4 o'clock, and back to you, Alecia. 4 o'clock's a tricky one for you. This is where we start to really sink down, and it's getting a bit, it's not quite hopeless completely yet, but you're clawing back, you're trying to get back to where you should be, and you realise that there's no way back. So at that point, this is a tricky one, but it's as you sink further down into your sabotage. Before you were a teddy bear, a bear when you're powerful, and you moved on to the. This is a memory game, isn't it? What was your second one at 3 o'clock?
My sluggish, slow, sleeping cat.
Yeah, sleeping cat. So from the sleeping cat, as you move further round into the end, so to speak, what's the next step for you?
I think I'm in more getting closer to the scared state, because when you get really unsure, like I'm getting anxious and scared. Okay, so it's scared. It's more fear. Yeah. Okay, so as you're slipping into that fear, what are you scared of? The dark last night. No electricity.
Do you see that your 6 o'clock is a dark place then? Is that, and you see you heading towards your dark place and you don't want to go there?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you give me 2 words to describe that? We've got dark. We'll stay with dark. And should we go with dark and fear? Is that?
Yeah.
Is that where we're at that point? Dark and fear.
Yeah, I put fear and scared.
Can you give me an animal that would sum up? A little bit of a tricky one to find. If you don't want an animal...
First one that comes to mind is like a snake, I guess.
A snake?
Yeah.
So a snake, okay. I think everyone does something similar around about 4 o'clock. It's quite interesting.
Yeah.
I'm waiting to see what Tamara comes up with. So, okay, so a snake, and is there a sound that goes with that? Your snake sound is kind of works.
Okay.
I
Yes.
think that actually to have the sound or to make the sound really brings you back to focus on your actual anchor point, which is the animal,
Okay.
or whatever your actual feeling is. You can actually link it with a sound just as well as you can with thought or an animal. So it just helps to reinforce that.
Right.
It's not something they actually said, but it works for me. So, um, Tamara, we're on to 4 o'clock for you. This is we're getting a bit miserable now, aren't we? We don't like 4 o'clocks.
Yeah. My feelings were similar to Alicia's, just panicked. It's like that feeling where you're sitting in a chair and you go to lean back against the back of the
Yeah,
chair and
that's
it
it.
gives way because it's a recliner or something, and it's like, you know, arms and legs go flying because you think you're going to fall.
Yeah,
And the animal I associate that with is deer. The
yeah,
whitetail around here, they're practically suicidal. They just run out like anything scares them, and you just, yeah, they just scatter all over the place and they run. That's their thing. They kind of make a noise, but I don't really associate the noise with that deer. I just associate the movement of just running blind into the
yes.
wherever.
Okay, I can go with
Yeah.
that. I really like that analogy of sitting in a chair and leaning too far back, and it's
Mhm.
where gravity takes over and you realise that you're going to fall and there's no way you can stop it. That
Yeah.
hopelessness that I'm going and I don't want to, but I'm going.
Like no
That's
control. You don't know what's going on.
Yeah, so everyone can relate to that if you've been sat in a chair and you lean too far back and you've gone over. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's the tipping point, isn't it?
Mhm.
Realizing that you're just past your tipping point. Perfect. For me, not quite as simple. Um, for me, the 4 p.m. is eels. It's like a massive knotted eels in my stomach, is all squidging about and hard and heavy and just uncomfortable. And I'm knotted. I'm lost. I've completely lost my focus at this point, and I'm sinking in mud. And it's that hopelessness of I can't get out of this. You know, I'm going down no matter what happens, and this is the end for me. Um, and I give up on trying to get, or I realise at that point that I can't get back. Yeah, I've gone too far. So yeah, sinking in mud is my analogy. But I do like the chair one. That's really good.
Mhm.
Okay, so back to you, Alecia. And at this point, it gets fairly simple for everybody at this point because um, we've hit 6 o'clock, so we're now at the bottom of the cycle, as you can see there. And we got to 6, and we got the weight of the world, all that sabotage is on top of us. So to come up with something for this is when there is no comeback. You're crushed, you know, you're underneath it. Um, if you want to pick 2 words, you're welcome to do so. And a feeling or an animal or a noise.
This one's tough. So you're crushed. You're not going back. So it's totally dark, and you got to come up with a feeling and an animal and a sound. um, I don't know. You may need to give your example because I'm kind of lost on this one. I mean,
Okay.
the snake was pretty scary itself, so I'm having a tough time.
So as you get to this stage, I'll tell you what, I'll go first, and if it makes it easier for you. So at 6 p.m., I don't have an animal for 6 p.m. For 6 p.m., nothing's alive anymore. It's just everything's crushed. So I've got I'm feeling pretty hopeless. I've lost my power. I've got nothing left. I've fallen off. You know, the chair's gone over. I'm flat. I'm squashed. I'm hopeless, I'm numb, I don't have any feeling, and my animal is just a colour, it's just black. And there's no sound, it's just black. And at this point, you know, I just want to, like he said, lie down, shut my eyes, the world's crushing me. There's nothing I can do. I've walked away, I've had to leave. So that's my squash zone, the squash zone, I like that. I don't know if there's anything different you want to add to that, if you have any different feelings from that.
Yeah,
But that's what I see as the...
that helps. What's your animal?
It's just a colour, it's just black. There's no animals, there's no life, it's pretty much desolate. That's the bottom of the pit, you know, there's nothing can live down there.
I don't know where your belt is, but you have to go and get a shirt on.
When I get like that, I shut off too. Like, I get silent. I get really like people are asking me questions and I'm just shut off, and I can't express anything, any feelings or anything. Everybody else around me is confused. What's going on? And that the animal that I can relate to is like a possum. Like, you think they're alive, but you're not sure. They look dead just to kind of get by. So I'm thinking of the possum that's there, and you're not sure if they're smelly or not, because you're figuring out different ways. Are they still alive? Are they going to press through this? So that's that, just that holding breath moment. And this is a lot of times where I do hold my breath in, and my thoughts are in a gray cloud of confusion, because I really do. I just stop talking. I shut down.
Okay, that's 6 o'clock pretty much as it goes. Tamara?
Okay, so feelings are relatively the same. I feel stuck. I feel dead, like no feeling, nothing inside. And the animal that kind of popped up, not really even an animal, it's more like a character.
Okay.
Where they used to kill witches or people that they thought were witches by stacking rocks on top of them.
Oh, right, okay.
And letting them sink and like just be crushed to death, but also putting rocks on top of them in water so that they would sink down to the bottom.
Okay.
And not be able to come back and, cast
We just
spells.
watched The Wizard of Oz.
I'm sorry?
We just watched The Wizard of Oz.
Oh, really? No, she went a different way. That was pretty fun.
That was a house.
But she did go by water. She like disappeared with the water, I think.
Yeah, she got melted by water.
Yeah.
I'm melting.
Yeah, just very much that. There's nothing left. Crushed.
Here's
flat.
the thing that I don't get, right? Okay, so if a witch is going to melt in water, then what do they do when it rains?
She has a big hat. That's what the big wide-brimmed hat is for, to keep the rain off of her.
Okay, sorry, skip on. So, sorry, carry on.
I'm not an expert on witches or anything. Don't tell my kids. But yeah.
That's cute.
So anyway, that's the feeling that I get and the character I associate it with.
Yeah. Okay, moving on. We're getting round now to the light of dawn, and this is the good part. 9 o'clock, and the sun should be shining over the horizon. You're coming out of your depression, and you're starting to feel that you've got possibly hope, whatever you think it might be in your own. I don't want to give you too many descriptive words to take away what you're going to say. So we'll go straight to Alecia, and you're coming back round towards your 12 o'clock. You're not there yet. What's your feeling? Give me 2 or 3 descriptive words, and then we'll work on an animal and a sound.
Like relief.
Okay, good.
Calm. I'm about there.
Okay. And
That's all I can think of. What was yours? You're gonna have to give me more examples. I said this was hard for me.
Okay. I'll go with mine then. So at the 9 p.m. for me, this is the comeback scene in the movie. You know, this is where the guy. I've put my example. It's not an animal. It's not a colour. It's Rocky's fist. Okay, so that's what I've got written down. Let me see that. Rocky's fist. And if you can imagine, you know, when he's beaten, he's turned down, he's the champs, you know, he's been blackened, and he gets up, and the guy in the Back to the Future where he makes a fist, you know, and he turns down and smacks Biff, you know that, and you just see his fist being made, and he's got this, I'm going to do this. I'm beaten, but I'm going to get back up, and I'm going to come back, and Rocky's fist is my feeling, and to go with that, the sound is like, here we go. You can see it coming. He sat there in the movies and you see the fist going, here we go, he's coming. So that's my feeling, and it's unbroken, determined hope and excitement. So that's my Rocky's fist at 9 o'clock. It's the comeback time, and it's a really good one. You can just make a fist and you can feel it coming. You squeeze it tight and you're like, here we go, we're ready. So bring yourself out of it with that gesture. Over to you. Do you want to add to that, Alecia?
Nice, I like that one. So I see music like coming on, like the Rocky theme coming back with you.
Music, mind, everything.
Was that it? Were we supposed to associate that with an animal or something too?
Well, like I say, it can be an animal. It can be. When I got to my 6 o'clock, I'd run out of animals. I just had black. It was just a colour, just blackness. When I came to my 9 o'clock, I didn't really have an animal. I just had that feeling of the fist. If I was to put an animal with it, yeah, it's a tough one, isn't it? It's a tough one to summarise that feeling with an animal. But I just envision the fist, making a fist, and the Rocky music in my ears, and there you go.
I see like a jaguar.
A jaguar.
Like running or something, right?
Okay. So as long as you can picture that, this is something that you can link to. These are your mental ties that you're going to be able to just bring to mind. So when I think of my first one, well, sorry, we'll go through yours. So when you think of your bear, yeah, you just picture a bear in your mind, you're thinking power on, and that's you at full power. And when you think of you dozing, you're a sleeping cat, and you just picture that sleeping cat, that's when you need to realise that you're slipping. As soon as you picture that sleeping cat, you're slipping into loss. Yeah, and as you come round to your next one, which was, I'm getting mixed up now, it wasn't the deer, that was yours, Tamara. Your third one,
Snake.
4 o'clock was the snake, sorry. 4 o'clock's the snake. So as you feel you're going into that one, you know where you're headed. Okay. The idea is that you're not going to try and go back to the previous state. You've got to push forward and know what your next state is. So as long as you can picture, I'm a bear. I'm going into the sleeping cat. As soon as you see sleeping cat, think snake. Think snake. Push yourself into that next one. Let yourself sink down into that. It's like a depressed feeling, or your sabotage, you know. And then think on to the next step. So when you come back round to 9 o'clock, you've got your clear picture of what you're going to be, and you've got to lock in that image. And if you want to put a sound with it and add that to it, you can make the sound to bring the image clearer in your mind. The idea is to bring your mental ties and your feelings with that background to where you should be. And then we can focus on getting back to being a bear again. Okay, so these are just steps with a mental tie, a sound, an image. Yep.
Okay.
Okay. So that's the idea behind it.
Cool.
Tamara, 9 o'clock. Dawn of a new day.
So, when I was going through this with Will, we actually kind of came up with different times. Like there was the 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and then that 4 to 5 o'clock area, the 6 o'clock, and then instead of a 9, there was like an 8 and a 10 for me. So the 8 o'clock was just barely like lifting some pressure off.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the feeling was like kind of like what she said, like a sigh of like I can breathe again for a second. And visually, there's no animal, but there's like a tiny, tiny bit of light.
Okay.
And like I can feel a breeze coming in, like almost like I've been trapped in a tunnel. I see a little bit of light, and I know there's an opening because there's breeze coming in.
Okay.
And I can feel the breeze on my face, like fresh air.
So this is like
and then,
8 o'clock, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's like 8 o'clock. After I've been stuck, then going up to the 8 o'clock, and then the 10 o'clock is when I feel like there's a buildup, like an imminent eruption. Something big is coming, and it's like a shaking feeling, like energy that I contain, and it just keeps getting bigger, and there's like a rumbling, like the T-Rex when it's off in the distance and you can hear the stomp, and it shakes the water a little bit, and you can see the ripples in the water when the T-Rex is approaching. And then it gets back to the power, like,
And you're the T-Rex, okay.
Oh, yeah.
All I'm saying is that ideally, you don't want to be adding in extra steps because that's going to make it slower to get around your cycle. You know? If we were to put in a 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, then you've got to envision these things, all these extra steps to get you back to form. So we want to try and make it, so we're going 3, we've got the 4 o'clock, 6, we're down, 9, we're coming back, and 10, we're straight back to 12 again. I understand what you're saying. There's a process to that. It's not smooth, but if you can try and get a central point within that range of the little pinprick of light coming through and being released, and you've got the ripples. If you can try and squash that down into one feeling in the middle, so you can just put a tag on that, then it's just a step to get you back to full, rather than a couple of steps to get you back to full.
Yeah.
We're trying to shorten that cycle, so just try and compact that and see what you can do with that.
Okay.
Okay. Excuse me.
So this one's between, so there's 12, 3, 4, 6, 9, and then we're back up to the power. And this one was, if we can pinpoint 9 in between the darkest place and our power point, what is that? In between, we know we're kind of coming back up. And this is what we're kind of pinpoint. So I think Tamara kind of pretty much did one pinpoint. It was just like seeing that, how that is growing, seeing that movement again, because that's a pinpoint feeling, but you see it's still moving. Like you see it's starting to get there, because it's hard to pinpoint. That's my middle point, when you're just like, I hear the T-Rex is coming in the distance, and you're like, it's growing. So it's not like one pin growing, the light is coming of the day. It's like, that is the sunrise. Like, right? Like, this is when you can pinpoint, this is the sunrise. In just a few moments, you're going to see the sun. And so I think that's that moment that we're trying to pinpoint. Do we complete the cycle, like going through all of our steps, Rick?
So the next stage of this is to start to shrink this down so we can go from one step to the next fairly quickly. So did you write them down on individual pieces of paper?
Yeah.
No. I wrote it all on one.
Okay. So we do now is we place the paper on the floor, so to speak, and you can walk from step to step. So you put yourself 4 steps and walk through it. Is a good way of doing it. And you start off with the first step being your number 3, then 4, then 6, then 9, and then 12 is the last step to get back to full.
Okay. Do we like record this separate, like our own videos? Because I can't really walk around and do this.
Yes, so.
Is that what we're doing? I don't know. Because I see the process. I think it was just good to explain as to each other what each part was and how we're going through the process. And we're supposed to do this like at least once a day, he said. A
couple of times, you know. It's if you feel yourself slipping, you're going to go through this process. And I've got these on my desk now rather than on the floor. Okay, so I've got them spread out across my desk, and I'm sat here. If I start losing focus and I start feeling a little bit twitchy, a little bit hoppy, I'm my rabbit, I'm my little white rabbit, and I've got the sound, uh-oh, here we go. And I start to slip down into that I'm late sort of feeling. Then I look at it, I focus on it, I get the feeling, and I straight away step into, physically or mentally, step into the eels that I've got in my knotted belly, and the feeling of loss, and I'm sinking into the mud, and I just, oh. And as soon as that feeling comes really fully on, then I've got to step into my next 6 o'clock mode, which is hopelessness, and force myself to be numb. And I've got the tagline frozen in ice, and everything's black. I just can't do anything. I'm frozen. And then only then, when my mind's got to that stage where I've sunk into that blackness and there's nothing left, then I can start to visualize my Rocky fist, and the music starts playing, dun, 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 you know, and you see the comeback. And as soon as I get that feeling coming on, and then I start getting excited and determined, and the hope's there, and unbroken, and then I can move forward and become my lion again, and go, "Rah!" And I'm back to full power again. And we want to go through that cycle really quickly. So as soon as you see the first one, I'm a rabbit, then I've got to think eels, then I've got to think black, then I've got to think Rocky's fist, and then I'm back to lion again. And we try and get that down into like a 10-second loop or even quicker. You know, less than a minute. That makes sense? And we just lost Alecia.
Yeah, back.
I talked to her, I know.
Yeah. Okay, so condensing those two, came up with seeing light, lifting pressure, rising.
Okay. Sorry, I'm here, miles away.
And then, yeah. And then going from that to the T-Rex. Actually, we've been doing these things where we have some like proclamations that we say. I found the Jurassic Park, and I found the T-Rex roaring together. So like T-Rex roars at the end really big, and I do proclamations to the theme music for Jurassic Park because it's like my favorite movie. Okay. And it feels awesome. Like, and then I get to roar with it, and it's roar like with the dogs. Yeah, the dogs don't like that very much. They get scared and run away. But yeah, but it's fun, and you can't help
the whole cycle. All makes sense now. Going through.
Yeah.
So if you can work on that and shrink it down, then that's pretty much that's the sabotage cycle.
Yeah, it's gonna be good.
Okay, and just to top it off, I've just got a sale. Yay!
Yay! That'll do it.
Yeah, that's put me back onto lying again.
Uh-huh.
That's the fast shortcut to your sabotage cycle. Just go get a sale. You'll be fine. Bye now.
Exactly.
Ooh. Wow.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
My internet just drops. It's crazy.
Yeah, mine too.
So what did I miss?
We're back to the event shortly, aren't we? Is it 20 minutes time?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, assuming they start, they don't have the best tiebreaker for that yet.
I'm hoping not, because I got a piano student at the top of the hour.
All right.
So I've been writing them out, one per page, and we do this, twice a day?
Yeah, if you want to do it twice a day, if you want to do it more, if you can really focus on it, that's what I was just saying to Tamara, if you focus on the steps and you can go through the steps in your mind very quickly, then that's the deal. It's not a question of just, I'll set them out, I'll do this twice a day. It's a question of, let's do this until I've got it in my mind. And then when you start feeling you're slipping into, in your case, the purring cat, sleeping cat, as soon as you start feeling that, then you can quickly think of the next step, the next step, the next step, and come back round to being the bear again. Okay? Force yourself through the cycle as quickly as you can, and physically, by stepping onto the piece of paper, by stepping forward onto it, you can assume that feeling a lot more. You can feel yourself sinking down into the feeling, yeah, and you're bringing on the mental clarity of how it feels in that state. It's easy to feel the first thing because that's where you slipped into naturally anyway. But to force yourself onto the next feeling rather than waiting for the cycle to move round, you've got to really force yourself to get into that next stage. Because if you do that, then you can progress further round until you come back round and back into the light again. Okay? Simple. Simples. Just have to go through it a few times. Physically step on the paper, that helped for me. That worked.
Yeah.
So, do your steps.
Doing the motion as the animal.
Yeah, that's always good, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's why I put a sound with it as well. If, I've got a bit of a sound to go for, or I've got a bit of music playing in my mind that I can assimilate to.
Yeah, I was thinking of that fight song that they were singing. So, when you do that Rocky theme, right? Everybody, it was funny. I was like, why does everybody have a piece of paper? I was like, oh, they don't have it memorized like I do.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why I gotta sing that a few more times, memorize it. I'm getting better at my memory. I think I almost have my Chopin Debussy or whatever, Chopin Fantasies memorized. I'm like, a few more sections and I'm done.
Good deal.
I'm pointing to the last few sections. There you go. So another thing I was thinking we should do together is the last exercise they did with the music in the background or whatever. And how did they explain that? That like a power chant in a way or something?
Okay. So I know what you're talking
do that
about.
Another time, but I was thinking we should do that one as well together. What do you think?
Let me bring this on.
You got the sun, Tamara.
Yeah.
So this is, I love this. This is a piece of music. It's called Ice of Phoenix by Audio Machine. We'll just turn this up a little bit.
Did you get it?
Yeah, of course I got it.
Because I'm thinking there was another one that I was going to use instead, because who was it? Paul Hutchings shared with me like this hero one, and I found it, and I think it was very similar. So I want to hear you, see if it's like it. And yeah, we should use your music and do that too. When do y'all want to do that?
Well, the music's playing now, kind of. So there's lots of music out there. You don't have to pick this particular piece of music. It's just an inspirational piece. And I'm thinking I'm going to make a video and paint half my face blue and do the brave heart. Yeah, it's wear a kilt.
Yeah, I can
Yeah.
see that.
Follow me into battle.
Yeah.
So that's what it's all about. It's getting emotion. Music inspires emotion, and that's what I'm going to play now.
Yeah.
And as you've got this music behind you, you can feel that real gets into everybody. And this is the best bit in every movie where the inspirational speech comes on. Some of them are a bit cheesy, actually.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you get the inspirational. And I am gladiator, you know, husband to wife and 10 children that I don't know of. And you carry on, you know. The power speech. Sorry, that was terrible.
Women too.
The inner circle that Paul Hutchings did, it was his speech from the last event.
Right.
Basically, it was the Braveheart speech. He just used different words.
Right.
At the beginning, but it was still awesome.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, you could tell that he's like practiced that routine, you know, and I see, you know, doing that every day, how it can change your state and how it can change your confidence in so many different ways. Because I was like, he's doing it. I'm going to try that. I tried it a couple of times. I see them practicing it every day. No wonder, you know, no wonder they're a really good speaker, and no wonder they have, you know, more of that confidence in speaking out and stuff like that. Like the way the exercise does for you, you know.
Well, the practice of it doesn't just your confidence in the ability to speak. It also puts you on the same vibrational as what you're trying to attract to yourself.
Yeah.
So, actually doing that every day, it keeps you right in there on that level.
Yeah.
So, that's going to help.
Well,
Family is here wanting breakfast. So I'm gonna
all right.
hop off and,
do you want to do that tomorrow, or when do you want to do that?
I think tomorrow would work for me, as long as it doesn't, like, I don't know what the schedule is for the live webcast. As long as the schedule is the same, then we can do this again tomorrow morning.
Okay.
Awesome.
Yeah, I might have to check my time and see if it's a little early or whatever. Yeah, but let's just confirm tonight or whatever and make sure.
Okay.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
That's
You
absolutely
bet.
fine.